Okay, hello everyone, this is Link. I'm coming at you guys with a Spark build guide. This class is Inquisitor or Templar, and yeah, so I'm gonna start off like I normally do with a mapping showcase and kind of just show how the build plays out and like what I'm doing. Um, so first thing I'm gonna do when I go into a map is turn on RF and click on Zealotry for my Divine Blessing. And basically, I just run around and um, aim pointlessly and mindlessly at wherever, and Spark just kind of kills everything for me. This build is a hardcore build. Um, Not sure if you're familiar with what I usually play, but every league I'm playing on hardcore, and I attempt to do all the hardest content in the game. So far, this build has done everything except the feared, but that's because I need to figure out a way to get reflection immunity versus Uber. This build is insanely tanky, one of the tankiest builds I played to date, and damage is quite high too. So you can see here, it's kind of a little bit cheating because I got an acceleration shrine, but I kind of make quick work of the boss here. And then let me disable this. So versus bosses, I just click Tornado, and then cast Cypress Mark. And I just kind of stand here. And just face tank everything. And yeah, that's the boss. Can kind of pretty much see that I took 0 damage there, just kind of standing still. And you know, this is a 120% quantity map, so nothing to um, laugh about. This build has been doing like 200% quantity invitations and whatnot, so pretty good build so far. So so yeah, like I said, this is a Spark build, and what Spark is, if you don't know, is I basically it's a self-cast spell, and whenever I click my right click, I shoot out these lightning projectiles that kind of travel the entire screen. And eventually, when you have enough cast speed, you kind of fill up the entire screen and they bounce around. And the nice thing about this mechanic or the spell is that it's able to hit more than once. So the more cast speed you have, the more duration you have, um, and the more enclosed the like corridor or like the area is, then you're gonna be able to hit a boss or an enemy more than once with just one cast. Um, so going to the defense of this build, so this is a hardcore build, and this is probably one of the most tankiest builds I played. And the reason is that you can see how my armor here is at 40k armor. I have it's not an evasion build, but I have a really high EHP pool. I have 7.6k life right now and 1.7k ES. And you can see what my regen is like. So whenever I press Divine Blessing, my HP regen is pretty much instant, and that's not even calculating into leech too. Currently, my life regen is at 1.6, and I guess with RF on it's a little bit slower, but you get the point. And that's due to the consecrated ground effect. Right now, I'm sitting around at like 50% spell suppression chance. My max res is at 90, 88, and 87. Chaos res is at 42, and we pretty much have almost max spell block and a good amount of attack block, and that's due to Tempest Shield and Glancing Blows. We aren't stun immune in this build, but we do have a high HP pool, and we have Brine King, so that helps us with stun immunity. We're not ailment immune, but we do get freeze immunity from the Pantheon. We get shock immunity from Tempest Shield. We don't have to worry about ignites because of our high HP regen, and then it's pretty rare for you to run into the other ailment effects like um, Scorch, Brittle, and Sap. That's only in like Delirium and stuff, or Simulacrums. And then we get chill immunity from Boots. Um, yeah, so I'd say this build is really like face roll to play, and like once you get the gear going, It's like DC proof for the most part because of how tanky this build is. Like when you have this amount of HP regen, you can just like stand still versus like everything, and you're not gonna be taking damage. And that's like one of the the nicest parts about the build. Like some of these invitations that I've been doing, I just like literally just stand there, and like I just don't take damage. And I'm just face tanking everything. This build can like stand AFK in like Uber or in Shaper Beam. I think with enough spell suppression, you should be able to just stand in all of Shaper's balls. I can tank Shaper Slam, Elder Slam, um, and like trivialize most fights just by standing still and holding right click. So. Yep. Okay, so let's see. Let's go into kind of the what makes this build work and like what makes it so strong and powerful. And I'm gonna start off with this is a leadership's price build, and so what leadership's price does is, if you don't know, is you have scorching conflicts, brittle, and sapping conflicts while your two highest attributes are equal, and then it also makes it so that you cannot ignite, chill, freeze, or shock. So basically this build, what it's doing is that, or this item, what it's doing is that it's removing the normal ailment effect, the normal ailment, the normal elemental ailments that you can inflict, and replace it with, it basically gives you scorching, brittle, and zapping conflicts. And what Scorch does is it lowers the monster's max res. So it's kind of like you're getting like elemental penetration. Um, Brittle is it gives you crit chance. So think of it as like you're gaining a 100% chance to crit. And sapping conflicts is if the enemy is sapped, they do less damage to you. So think of it as like you're getting a permanent fortify versus enemies. So you're taking 20% less damage from all enemies once that ailment has been inflicted. And because we're able to scale elemental ailments through like modifiers and trees, we're able to reach the cap of the Scorch, Brittle, and Sapping ailment on all enemies. And yeah, this amulet is pretty busted. Because of this amulet, we're able to pretty much spec into like pure life and still maintain an insane amount of DPS because we're able to cap out our crit. So yeah. The other core item in this build is the Brass Dome, and this is what kind of gives us that huge amount of survivability and durability. What this does is it gives us crit immunity and gives us +5 max res and a shit ton of armor. Yeah. So that's how we get to like standing still. We're at 27k without flasks on, and with the granite popped, then we're at 40k. So it's a lot of armor, and that's paired with molten shell too. So that's gonna give us a ton of EHP, and we're able to just kind of stand through everything for the most part. You will very, very rarely see your HP go down. I haven't seen it go down in forever now. Yeah, I think the only time it's gone down is like some chaos damage. That's because my chaos res is at 42. But yeah. Okay. So let's go into gems. So the main 6 link of this build is going to be Spark. We have Awaken Spell Echo because it's a self-cast build. We have Inspiration, Divergent Inspiration because this build casts really quickly and you want to be able to sustain it. So Inspiration is quite needed. We get Awaken Lightning Penetration, and this gives us lightning exposure on hit. So it's pretty nice, and it's also one of the highest DPS support gems. We have Pinpoint Support, and what this support gem does is it gives us it uses the intensity mechanic. So on your first cast, you're gonna cast more sparks, but then as you stand still, you can see up on the top here, the intensity goes up to 4, and the more intensity you have, the less spark projectiles you shoot out, but the more damage each projectile will do. So it's one of the best damage dealing modifiers for any projectile gem in the game. And then we get critical damage support to further boost our damage. One thing you can do is instead of running Pinpoint is to run Pierce. This will help Pierce or Fork, and this will help your map clear a lot. But I found that having Pinpoint, just that boost of damage makes a huge difference, and I'd rather kill bosses quicker than clear the map faster. Going into our wand, we have Sniper's Mark. This is our main curse. What this does is, straightforward. Projectiles do more damage to the cursed enemy. We have Divergent Arcane Surge support so that we can maintain Arcane Surge buff pretty frequently. We have Flame Dash as our main movement spell. We have Shield Charge as our secondary movement spell, and that's paired up with faster attacks. We run Divergent Righteous Fire for 40% more spell damage. Auras. So auras are going to be Tempest Shield for block and shock immunity. We have Wrath for damage. Anomalous Blood and Sand. And we run this because the quality bonus gives us 20% projectile speed, and that's the only purpose of it. Determination for armor. We run Molten Shell and Cast When Damage Taken as our main guard skill. And then we have Defiance Banner for more armor. Tornado. Tornado gives us, I think, up to like 60% more damage if used properly against bosses. And that's because every damage dealt to the tornado gets reflected onto the enemy. So, very strong. One of the best OP like supporting gems that just gives you extra damage for no reason. And then lastly in our helm we have the Zealotry Divine Blessing setup, and what this does is it allows us to temporarily reserve use our life to gain Zealotry for 21 seconds. Yeah, so just more damage. Okay, so going into the items, so we talked about Brass Dome and Leadership. Our wand is going to be basically like as much damage as possible, and I used the Recombinator technique in this league to craft this item, or this wand. So what I did was I recommed the lightning spell and crit multi onto a profane wand base because we want more cast speed, and then I use essences of woe until I hit T1 lightning damage to spells. Then I did Ashling until I hit the double damage while focused, and then I finished off with a cast speed craft. So it's actually pretty easy to craft, it just requires some luck. And I think hitting T1 Lightning from the Essence of Woe, it takes around like 70 tries. So it's only 70 essences, so it's like pretty cheap. It's like 210 chaos on hardcore. So just one, it looks crazy, but it's not very hard to craft. It's probably like less than like 5x. It's like probably like 7x-ish, if you know what you're doing. My rings, I'm looking for cast speed, T1 cast speed, T1 life, and then any suffixes to help it out. In this case, I got dexterity to help out with my sniper's mark, and I got chaos res on my suffixes. This ring was pretty crazy. What I did was I recombinated a temple modded life ring with the essence, with a essenced cast speed ring, and then with chaos rest too. So my suffixes managed to hit perfectly, and then I also got the temple modded prefix. So this is actually one of the best rings I've ever crafted, I think, due to its like raw stats. And it's a bit sad that I don't have 24 dial catalyst on this, but I'll get it soon. But it's a big ring. On your helmet, boots, and gloves, what you're looking for is suppression, life regeneration rate, and life. So you can see here I have T1 suppress, and then I actually have like 20 life here because I'm still in the middle of crafting this. I added 1 pierce to my gloves, and I added a pierce to my helmet so I can drop the pierce gem for pinpoint support. And then on the implicits, I got lightning damage, leech as life for more life recovery. I got unnerve for more damage. Other options are you can run like spell suppression on the Eater of Worlds implicit, and then on the searing, don't remember what else you can get on there. There's some good stuff, but yeah, you can just I think you get cold res, I think, on that. Yeah. On my helmet, you can see here it's a fractured base with T1 life, T1 hybrid life, and then pierce. And then we have suppression, life regenerate, and more life regen. Life regen feels so nice, and it just feels the best. And our implicits are going to be mana reservation and max lightning res. And then our shield, The shield was made using recombination, I think. Yeah, so I recombinated T1 life and T2 spell damage. Then I aug lightninged to grab the prefix. And then I also got the recom on the max fire res too. Um, and then um, I Redeemer Slammed it to grab the Fizz damage avoidance. And then I crafted double damage while focused. So shield is just going to be life, max res. Ideally, you get all max res so you can cap out your cold and lightning max res. But in this case, I'm settling for max fire res for now, and I'll finish another shield in the future. Boots is going to be life, T1 life on prefix, and then more life, and then you ideally want the veiled version of cannot be chilled, so you get up to like 35% movement speed. But um, in this case, I got the veiled version of the non-damaging elements, and then I have life regen on the suffixes and res. The implicits are going to be action speed, which is basically tailwind, and then more life regen. Belt is very straightforward. It's just life and whatever res you're missing. So you can see here the gear is like pretty straightforward. The only thing you really want are the most important things are the T1 cast speed on your rings, and then ideally you get like crit multi, and then just life. Everything is just life, right? It's not too complicated. The other two items that are important on the tree is your Glorious Vanity, and the Glorious Vanity gives us a ton of ES. In this case, it's giving us almost 250 life because I have a max life node here, and then it's also giving me what is that, like 1500, 1400 ES, and then we have Unnatural Instinct here, so we can just the best jewel to give us all these really nice effects. Yeah. And then here we have a Watcher's Eye, which is just giving us Lightning Pen while we have Wrath on. And then the jewels are going to be your life, cast speed, crit multi, and then whatever else you need, res, life, etc. So I think nothing too crazy going on here. I'd say probably the most expensive pieces are going to be your chest and amulet, because the amulet can be there's a lot of variance when it comes to rolling this. So yeah. Oh, and then the gems are obviously expensive, like Awakened Spell Echo. This is probably going to like double your damage. But yeah, those items, like once you get them, that's what makes the build work, and it's not like a crazy like complex build. There's no like complex crafting you need to do to make all these items. And should be pretty straightforward. Okay, going to the Ascendancy. The Ascendancy is going to be Inquisitor. In normal lab, you should get Sanctuary. Merc lab, you should get PS Path. And this just gives you a ton of life regen and should make you unkillable while you level. In Cruel lab, I think you should get Righteous Providence. And then your final lab, you're going to get Augury of Penitence. If you are starting this build out, then what you can do is drop Augury of Penitence and then go Inevitable Judgment. And then, because you're not going to have a Brastum and Leadership to start, right? So what you can do is play Goratha's version of his Spark build, which is the like normal crit, like you're like specking into crit nodes, like into here, and I think you're going to the right side of the tree, and you're grabbing like Doomcast, and you're using like Frost Shield. There's a guide for it. I'll link it below. That's what I was using to level up to like level 94, and then I respect and into Brastum and Leadership. Yeah. So going into the passive tree, so this tree is pretty funny. This tree is literally just all life. It's like, okay, here. So we start from the starting point. We grab Discipline and Training. We grab Devotion, Life. We click 2 damage nodes. We grab More Life, Purity of Flesh, Sovereignty to fit in our auras. We grab Anointed Flesh to gain max res. We grab Quick Recovery for more life, Heart and Soul for more life. Oh, we grab Cruel Preparation for more life. We grab Mystic Bulwark to help mana regen and the reduce mana cost of skills. We get Mental Rapidity to get the Mastery Point for Intensity, and then I guess Lightning Walker as well. Then we path down to Scion. Scion, we get the Unnatural Instinct Jewel Spot. We get Iron Will to get some extra damage from our Strength, which isn't even that high. We get Constitution. Um, we get Tireless and Glancing Bows down here. Um, we grab more life in Marauder, which is Barbarism, Juggernaut, Heart of the Warrior, Prismatic Skin, Soul of Steel, and Bloodless. So you can see here, this tree is like literally, it's all life. And we have like 2 damage nodes. And yet this build it's doing a lot of damage, okay? You can see from the map showcase how quickly bosses drop. And you can watch my Uber Elder fights in my channel. Most bosses are going to drop pretty quickly. So the build is pretty good, pretty OP, and the best part is I'm missing a ton of damage still. So let me go into the POB and kind of show you what it's looking like here. So I guess to quickly note, actually let me before I do that, Pantheons are going to be Brine King, so you get stun immunity and freeze immunity, and then we get Yugal because I'm definitely afraid of Effigy this league, and we get some reduced curse effects so that we gain curse immunity. Instead of running Yugal, what you can do is run probably Tukohama because you're standing still a lot, and then you can get up to 9%. Viz reduction, PDR, and life regen. And yeah, I guess, I mean, all of these are pretty good too. You can run Slot if you're bossing, but I don't think you're gonna need life flasks on this build. Okay, so going into the POB, and this is what it looks like. I'm level 97 right now. The bandits I've killed was Alira as well. So we have crit multi, we got our res. So you can see our EHP here is looking around like 160k. We have like 7.5k life, and yeah, and our DPS is looking around like 3.6 million. But I think Spark's damage in POB is very deceptive. I'm not sure how this is being calculated, because I know that each spark can hit multiple times, and this isn't even factoring into the tornado damage. And I think tornado apparently it does up to like 60% more damage. So take this number with a grain of salt. Just know that this build does a fuck ton of damage. Okay, just know that. So I'll link this POB in the YouTube description below. I'll just go over quickly what min-max improvements that I'm looking to make. One is I'm looking to make a better Watcher's Eye, so like a 2-stat or 3-stat Watcher's Eye, and that's going to give me, it's going to bump up my damage to 4 million. I need to level up my spell echo to 5. I can double corrupt my brass dome and get another +2, which is what I'm working on. So let's say duration, and that's going to bump up my damage another 20%, so up to 4.7 million. We have, am I focused on here? I am focused. Another thing I'm looking for is the Forbidden Flesh and Flame combo, and I'm looking for Harmony of Purpose, I think. Harmony of Purpose, right? Yeah. And what Harmony of Purpose does is it basically gives me endurance charges, power charges, and frenzy charges. So I'll probably replace these two, I think. And then that lets me take power, frenzy, and endurance. So that's going to bump up my EHP and frenzy charge, or my damage up quite a bit. I think that's pretty much it. Let me see what else I can do. Oh, I can get a helmet chant because I don't have one for some reason still. And that would be what Spark and like probably projectile speed. I can probably get additional proj as well, but this is probably what it's going to look like. And then lastly, another helmet enchant or boot enchant I can get. Or actually, let's start with the belt. My belt is like utter garbage, so this will probably become like a Stygian Vice of some sort. But I think the best one would probably be the reduced effect of curses on you. And then the boot enchant. I think I have movement speed right now, but since I get hit a lot, The best one will probably be either life regen, or if you want more damage, then you can get this one, which is like another 160 flat lightning. So I'd say those are my main upgrades that I can get. And then obviously another thing I can do is I can change the max fire res to max all res, and that'll cap out my res to become all 90s. So yeah, that's pretty much I think the gist of my min max. And of course I should hit level 100, and when I hit 100, then I can grab another like 2 more points, right? So I'll be at around 7.7k life with 1.7k, yes, yeah. I guess here, let me just add the belt. This is what it's gonna look like. It's gonna look like a hunter influence with catalyst. It's gonna add res. Then our rings are gonna have they should have fertiles as well, right? So it's gonna go up to 8% with 89, I think. I just want to see what my life looks like and the final outcome. It's gonna be what, 3, 8, also 89. And then I think I'm missing 70 life on my gloves, right? So yeah, so it looks like my final HP pool is gonna look something like this. So 8.4k life with how much ES is that? 1.8k, so around 11k, right? Or is that 10k? It's 10k. Can't do math. So around 10k HP. Yeah. So pretty tanky build, pretty strong build. Highly recommend it. I'm gonna try the Ubers with this build. And I think it should be able to kill all the Ubers, but we'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments below, and I'll try to get around to ask them. You can also message me in game, and hopefully I'll respond. I'll also link the POB and my character profile in the sheet. If you like this video, leave a comment, like it, subscribe, um, share it with your friends, and yeah, just thanks for watching, guys.